hope you're doing fantastically well today on this Monday, the 9th of April, where we will enter day 21 of #My20dayWorld 2018. And hey presto, the question is, are there any underground locations beneath your world? The quick answer is, staying contiguous with my other answers, yes, there are many underground locations beneath my world. And there are the corpses of many dead people there, PC and NPC alike. When I was initially coming up with the idea of the storms and how they would be affecting the world, I had to come up with a method of people surviving them. Originally, I'd imagined that it would be something like magic, some kind of wizard spell or religious ritual, this kind of thing that would really add weight to the side of magic in the feudalistic system that I wanted to use. I mentioned a couple of questions ago that the use of magic was not generally recognized as being part of the feudalistic system, and I wanted to use this opportunity as a method of really empowering them, giving them a reason to exist, beyond the usual use of having somebody who can flaunt reality with a word. But as I thought about it, I increasingly became aware that no, that probably makes them too powerful. People would just need them too much. It would almost inevitably result in a magocracy of sorts, mages, magic users being the people who are in charge. This is why I came up with the idea of the Stormhold, massive subterranean superstructures that really did exist as a method for entire communities, in the cases of the 5 free cities, the whole city in general, to survive within them. They're generally kept in multiple locations. They don't necessarily have to be underground, but for the sake of the argument, I'm just going to say that they generally are. So when I was coming up with these ideas, I had to come up with this concept of how they would be constructed, why would they be constructed, and what was it about them that really made them more capable of surviving the storms than just any other building. So what I initially came up with was the main things that you need, similar to what people have with hurricane or tornado shelters. A, they have to be fixed down to the ground, and 2, they have to be kept dry. Storms can sometimes take days, often weeks at a time, in order for them to build up and blow out. And this would have to be for a large number of people living there for a large amount of time. As a result, you'd have to be able to keep them safe, keep them from dying of exposure, keep them warm, and above all, keep them hydrated and fed in what would have to be a closed environment. Now, something that I really wrestled with when I was coming up with this kind of idea and thinking of different ways that they would be configured and so on and so forth, would be how would you keep it standardized? This is a feudal system where the idea of patronage and people pioneering with their own individual opinion of things really takes center stage, rather than what we have today of standardization and the capacity to keep everything at the same quality level for the given amount of money that we put forward. This really was something that I was wrestling with until I just came to the decision that really I felt fit best with the themes, and that is, they don't actually do these things. Talum is a difficult world. It's a world where bad things happen all the time for no good reason, and people get away with it. Meaningless things happen, and quasi-supernatural storms appear and rip the place to shreds. As a result, it would be standing to reason that actually the Stormholds, the methods that people have of defending themselves, actually doesn't all the way work all the time. They also are not standardized by any stretch of the imagination. Every Stormhold is in some way, shape or form different. And that's really what I wanted to put forward, because it would be important to me to make every one of these different. Remember what I said about them being ruins. These are the world's dungeons of sorts, the remnants of failed, broken down, destroyed civilizations, societies, towns, villages. The remnants, what remains of these people, can be found in these Stormholds. And as a result, it would stand to reason that every single one of them would be personalized in some way. This kind of gave me the ability to really twist it, to make it very different. Now, one of the questions that will come up as a result of the use of these Stormholds is, how do they actually keep the storm from just ripping into them? How do they keep from destroying them? Well, actually, this is one of the secrets of Talum. It's one of the great, kind of trade secrets of the peoples. Some would say that it's as a result of magical wards set up. Others would say that it's because of the relationship that people have with religious figures and deities. The spirits of the land may be able to help them. The long and the short of it is that it could be any of these reasons and none of these reasons, because ultimately they work most of the time. They are capable of staying where they are. So as a result, whatever you put in them, they generally stay there. This does not mean that they are somehow time capsules akin to the vaults. No, the outside will always affect them, mainly through the way of water. The first stormhold that the party had come across was what I called the soothold. This is because the previous occupant of this stormhold had suffocated themselves by accident, accidentally locking themselves into the main hold. And when the party arrived sometime later, all they found was a soot-covered antechamber. This particular stormhold was very, very small. The way I had it imagined was this was actually used for the cattle of a barnyard. As a result, it wouldn't require as much space because it was there to keep maybe a farmer, maybe a farmhand, and the avians that they were there to take care of. The second one that they had come across actually was called the Cinderhold. This is because of another thing that goes on, and it is part of the world, which is the concept of living creatures leaving psychological scars that those who come afterwards would come across and have to interact with. One of the other aspects of a stormhold is this seeming propensity that it has to keep the people's memories, the most recent things before they died, in there, kind of congealing and keeping it and coalescing it all together. The first place, the soothold, had within it the pseudo-gestalt creature of a woman and 2 young children who had suffocated in the hold. The Cinderhold, on the other hand, was the location of a revolt in which the peasant fiefs rose up against the vassal state and, in fact, burned and killed most of the knights through sheer weight of numbers. This event caused all of the disgust, all of the hatred of the knights against these people who had risen up against them to congeal, keep together, mould, and actually seep, becoming yet again another gestalt creature. But this one, rather than being of loss, of fear, of real will to survive, this one was just of spite. You'll notice that I'm really focusing in on the emotions of circumstances, the emotions of events. I really wanted to put forward this idea of the emotionality of my characters, of my world, as well as of the PCs, because I feel that that is a segment that I really am strong at, but also because it's something that I'm very, very interested in. As a result, these stormholds are locations where emotions take more precedence. When I was given my answer on day 9, I was discussing and I alluded to this idea of a plane that existed side by side with the world of sight. That was more of a world of sound. This is actually what I was talking about. The feeling of emotionality, the feeling of life, and those last feelings of people who had died in and around the stormhold that was strong enough, seeped through, and it kind of gave the players a sense of synesthesia. The party members started to experience certain things that kind of melded together and gave them small inklings of what may or may not have happened through their own abilities to feel. These are not the only subterranean structures that exist in Talum. In fact, there are many, many others, and it's a whole dearth of different things. But really, I leave them to be more the idea of what I want to come up with later on, as opposed to like settling it down now. One thing that I do like the idea of, and I have used multiple times in the past, is actually using the idea of giants having created these great subterranean longhouses that, because of the difference in size between a giant and a human, would be so much bigger and as a result deeper down in the ground than it would be for a smaller race. But really, that is the end of my answer, and I hope you did enjoy it. Really, thank you very much, everybody who's been listening over the last 20 days. That is incredible. I really appreciated the response that I got on from yesterday, and I've really been taking a lot of the criticism and constructive work on board with everything. I really do hope you enjoyed this, and please, by all means, like, comment, subscribe, and make me a YouTuber. Anyway, guys, I shall see you tomorrow. Ciao.